Hi there. I keep getting asked to talk about the Tide Pod Challenge, so I'll talk about that for a moment. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's where you eat a Tide laundry detergent pod, take a video, and post it online. Because apparently our species is devolving, and because the Tide Pods are colorful, that means they look like candy. Now, I think it's fucking dumb. That's nothing new. That's not a groundbreaking, valuable insight or perspective. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not opening any third eyes. I think that's an opinion shared by anyone with common sense. But I do think I'm at that age where I just don't understand the new generation. I really don't get people that are younger than me anymore. I don't understand their music with their Lil Pumps and their nonsense mumble rap that you have to walk through Google Translate just to even get it in English, and I don't even think it was ever in English in the first place. I think Google Translate just has doomsday protocols where if it can't make out what you type in, it just throws up the closest English word to whatever verbal queefing came from the rap song. I don't get why every rap song has to treat everyone like a child by teaching us what certain things sound like. For instance, the biggest one being guns. The gun goes bang bang, brat brat, and then coming through on my car, skirt skirt. It's just so fucking childish. It's some elementary school shit, like when you press a button on one of the toys to tell you what a cow sounds like. I don't understand why everything is savage and lit now. I don't get why all the young people idolize internet personalities and worship them like boring ass douchebags like Rice Gum and the Paul brothers. Just the worst braggadocio, fake personality pieces of shit there are. And the Tide Pod Challenge is another example of something I just don't understand. I really don't get why this would ever be an issue or a meme in the first place where people are actually dying from it and there has to be statements made by certified professionals, don't eat Tide Pods. Excuse me, I have a PhD in Tide Pod abstinence. Trust me, I know what I'm saying. I've done my research. It's just fucking dumb, you know? Why do you need a fucking Tide Pod avoidance expert to come on TV and tell you not to eat them? Now, since the Tide Pod Challenge has taken off in a big way, the Poison Control's hotlines have been ringing off the hook like a fucking 2004 radio station being requested Green Day songs by callers. And I'm no stranger when it comes to poison control. In fact, recently, about a month ago, a big fucking flying cockroach crawled up from my bathtub drain, and I had to battle with that motherfucker. It was like a clash of titans. It was some David versus Goliath shit. It was biblical. Cockroach, of course, being David, me being Goliath, even though I'm short enough where the cockroach and I would probably be eye level if on an even playing field. But anyway, for the sake of the story, I was Goliath, it was David, and I managed to trap it in a bucket. And the cockroach was definitely fast enough. It definitely had maxed out agility, 99 there. And if I had lifted that bucket, I don't think I would have been able to hit it in one swift motion and smash it. So instead I turned to Snapchat after I trapped it, and I was asking for suggestions on how to kill it. Tried filling up the bathtub with water and drowning it. It could swim, of course. It probably fucking brought scuba gear. It was well equipped. This was a special ops cockroach. Long story short, after a lot of other Scooby-Doo-esque suggestions, it wasn't enough to kill it. So another dude on Snapchat suggested bleach and ammonia to kill it. And like a fucking idiot, I was blinded by fear of this cockroach. I didn't think. And I did bleach and ammonia, and for those of you who don't know, it creates chlorine gas, which is, it's fatal. It can be fatal. So I'm fucking sitting there in my bathtub making chlorine gas, which, you know, it does kill the cockroach, luckily, but then I've got this fucking issue of, well, I've just poisoned my whole fucking bathroom, so call poison control and take care of that. The long story to go full circle here, I understand poison control. I've called them. That's kind of what I was saying, yeah. And now these Tide Pod stupid people are calling Poison Control as well. Those are some fucking heroes there at Poison Control with the amount of shit they have to put up with. Stupid stories like dudes making chlorine gas trying to kill a cockroach and people eating Tide Pods. Those are the fucking heroes we need to celebrate. But anyway, moving on, I kind of thought it'd be interesting to talk about how eating Tide Pods will kill you. Could kill you, not will. So what typically happens is most people who do this chew on it and it bursts. Now the second it bursts, your mouth is going to burn. Absolutely just... It gets lit up. It's going to hurt like a bitch. If you swallow the detergent like some brave soldiers out there have done, it can burn your esophagus, burns your stomach lining. Most of the time, you're going to puke it up. Almost 100% of the time, you're going to puke it up. But those unlucky people who happen to have gasped or inhaled once it burst and it goes into their lungs, they're in a bit more of a sticky situation. The people who swallow it smoothly aren't really at a risk for dying from it. It's going to hurt really badly. It's going to burn your stomach hard and it's going to feel like shit. But when you inhale it, that's when you put yourself at a real risk of dying. So it can burn your lung lining, obviously, but what can happen when that happens is it starts filling up with fluid and then you've got a lot of respiratory shit that's about to go wrong, and that's when people die from it. Mostly kids. Kids die from it, but some teenagers have died from the Tide Pod challenge as well, and that's how. It's not really from swallowing it, which does hurt you and can cause some long-term damage, but it's not typically fatal. It's when it gets into your lungs where you have the real issue. Not that that makes it okay to do it as long as you keep your fucking nose plugged and you don't breathe while you do it. That doesn't make it okay. Because, I mean, obviously it still carries that very big risk. But the people in these stories like this I feel most bad for aren't the dumb people that were stupid enough to do the Tide Pod challenge. It's the people that get affected if they die from it. It's embarrassing, really, more than anything. Like, shit. No one's going to want to tell your story how it actually happened. No one is going to want to say, how'd you lose your brother? Well, it was the Tide Pod challenge. That's just embarrassing. That's fucking sad more than anything. So if you're going to take the Tide Pod challenge, at least have a story backed up in case you do die from it. A good story, one that your family would be proud to tell. Something like, oh, how did Jefferson die? Well, our neighbor's house caught on fire and he heard 2 cats inside and 3 children crying. The parents weren't in there, so he busted in there like the hero that he was in the flames. And then there was ninjas in there as well, so he had to fight off the ninjas while inhaling all the smoke in the flames. He managed to get all of them out alive, but unfortunately he perished. See, like, that's a good story to tell. It's a lot better than saying you died from a Tide Pod. But yeah, anyway, that's really all I got to say about the whole Tide Pod challenge thing going on. I'm excited for 2018's newest trend that'll be taking off soon. I suspect it'll be something like snorting cyanide challenge. That'll be fun. But yeah, that's it. See ya.